Okay then, I hope you, I don't know if enjoyed is the right word, but I hope you were able to take a look at that video and see what happened there. Other examples of collisions, of course, could be getting hit with a hockey stick in a sport such as hockey, or getting struck by an opponent. The second one we can have then is being struck by an object, as we've touched on. The football example I've given is the... Important to remember here, there's a difference. Phil Babb collided with that goalpost, okay? The second one is being struck by an object. It's a different way of doing things, okay? The football's hitting somebody in the face there. That's quite an interesting image. It looks like he's a Newcastle United player by the shirt, or could possibly be Juventus. He's got struck by the ball, possibly lead to broken nose, black eyes, maybe some jaw, and tooth damage there as well, okay? We can also say, when we talk about acute injuries, when there's a sudden stress placed on the body, these often come from falling from height or at speed. Obviously, if we're in a sport such as motorcycle racing or horse racing, we could say there's lots of examples of this type of activity in that sport. With football, well, we can still fall while we're moving at speed. There's an image there of Robin, okay, Arjen Robin, the Dutch international. He may be diving there, I don't know, don't wish to comment on this, but if he falls when he's moving at very great speed, there's a great possibility he could land awkwardly and damage himself, okay? Just some things to consider there. So, another task for you. I did promise this content can be quite heavy, so I'd like to break it up as much as possible with these little tasks. We can subdivide injury types even further. We've considered acute and chronic injuries. How else do you think we could classify injuries? Again, think about some of the injuries you suffered, or your classmates, or your mentor, or people around you, and think about those. This might help you, okay? This might be a great clue. Think of some examples, and we'll get back together when you're ready. Okay, I forgot something there. Please, as always, share on Wiki, okay? Okay, welcome back. I asked you, could we sort of subdivide then injury types even further? As I said, we've already considered acute and chronic injuries. And I was looking for some other sort of further classification, okay? I'll break it down for you then, okay? We can say hard and soft tissue injuries. Now, at a very basic level, the difference between hard and soft tissue injuries is that hard tissue injuries involve damage to bone tissue, while soft tissue injuries involve damage to other types of tissue, such as muscular tissue, tendons and ligaments and so on, the connective tissues there. If we consider hard tissue injuries there, there's a diagram there of a broken bone, okay, an x-ray. These are bone injuries. Now, there are plenty, okay, many gruesome images and videos and examples of football players suffering bone injuries. I'm not going to include any here, okay? We've already seen the image of Mr. Babb. There's a collision with a goalpost. But I'm thinking of some of the injuries of players such as Djibril Cissé, I should say, who played for Liverpool for a while and was a French international. He suffered an horrific injury, okay? I don't want to put it up on the screen. Someone might be a little bit squeamish, and I would recommend be very cautious when you're looking at these, okay, if you do feel a bit squeamish. But it's up to you. If you want to do this in your spare time and take a look, you'll find plenty of images, okay? But I'm not going to force you to do that. Hard tissue injuries then, as I said, they are bone fractures. Now, the bone either cracks or breaks. This fracture, it leads to further complications. It leads to bruising and swelling. It also leads to pain, which is as a result of nerve damage. We'll also find the limb, or the area of the body where the break is located, that becomes immobile. We can't move it, in other words, okay? If it's a very bad fracture, well, that area will look obviously deformed, okay? If we were to take a look at the image of Djibril Cissé and the really bad injury he received while playing for France, you'll see quite clearly what I mean there by deformity, okay? Quite a horrendous image. Shin splints, we touched on previously, they're actually a form of fracture, which is caused by repeated stress. Again, if you're interested in shin splints, you may have suffered it when you're younger. Please take a look at that in more detail. There's quite a lot of information there, particularly in terms of younger football players. Now I'd like to give some more information regarding fractures. Fractures are usually caused by violent impacts. They're most common in contact sports such as rugby and football, and American football for example. And of course, as we touched on, sports where there's a high risk of falling from height or at speed. So for example, horse riding would be a good one there, skiing of course, and climbing. Mountain biking as well would be a good one. Fractures are very difficult to prevent, as they are caused by sudden and often unexpected events or accidents. However, by using correct technique and playing within the rules, well, in that way we can reduce the risks to some extent. Yeah. For example, in football, when they banned tackles from behind, there was a reduction in the amount of fractures caused in the game as a result of tackles in that way. How do we treat fractures then? Well, at a basic level, fractures should be treated by immobilizing the injured area with a splint or a sling and controlling any bleeding with a dressing. The casualty should not be moved until the ambulance arrives. That's very, very important, okay? Unless, of course, it's absolutely necessary. For example, if the casualty was in the middle of a main road or near a train line or something like that, okay? So common sense is needed there. I want to make it obvious at this point, and this is not a first aid lecture, okay? I'm not doing that at this time. But we will touch on some basic forms there. There's an example there of a fracture, an image you might see on the screen. And you can see when we talk about deformity. I did say I'm not going to put any really horrific injuries up there. If you take a close look, you will see that's not that gentleman's shin pad that's sticking out there, okay? There's plenty of worse ones to look at on Google, okay?